What is Israel's long-term plan in Gaza? Israeli settlers say they're ready to reoccupy Gaza and they're calling on the Israeli government to support them.
We have lists already of about 500 families that are willing, on the drop of a hat, to just move into, we have North, Central and South Gaza.
But it's not a plan Benjamin Netanyahu has expressed support for. While there's no agreement on building settlements in Gaza, there is Israeli consensus around the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians in Gaza and long-term Israeli military control of the territory.
There's more of a consensus around just being able to punish Gaza, reasserting some kind of Israeli control over it, and I think there's more of a majority behind the idea of the military having direct control than necessarily the settlements.
Netanyahu's government has been unclear about Gaza's future.
There are definitely some camps, especially on the far right, who see the kind of resettlement of Gaza as an ideological priority, as a strategic, even military priority. They see that there's lines of things like, that settlement brings security, or even just the idea of bringing that back into Jewish-Israeli demographic control. But there's still a lot of conflicts, actually, among other politicians and also the military establishment, who think that this is a bad idea.
But the settler movement is desperate to re-establish illegal Israeli settlements in Gaza.
For much of the Israeli settler movement, a principal ideological goal is to establish Jewish settlement across all of Eretz Israel, like all of the land of Israel, at least between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. And while their primary concern at the moment is around the West Bank, around what they call Judea and Samaria, and especially occupied East Jerusalem, Gaza is still also a major piece of that.
But that would put massive long-term pressure on Israel's military to defend the settlers. And as the death toll reaches over 34,000 Palestinians killed, Amjad says that the push from Israel's far right to build settlements is not the primary focus.
The settlement aspect is only one piece of it. It's not really the crown jewel in a way, or it's not the thing that we need to keep our eyes so fixated on. It's certainly a threat, but there are other realities, other horrendous realities that are unfolding on the ground, which is turning Gaza into something very, very different in order for Israel to shape it to its own strategic advantage.
Ariel Sharon, who was Israel's Prime Minister from 2001 to 2006 and a lifelong defender of the settler movement, withdrew Israeli settlers from Gaza in 2005 to tighten Israel's grip on the occupied West Bank.
One of the common Israeli narratives is that Ariel Sharon did this as a move for peace. This is absolutely not the case. It is not built in for Ariel Sharon to ever make a move for positive peace, and it was entirely a strategic decision. For Sharon, Gaza and for the Israeli state as a whole, it became very difficult to actually maintain that same kind of control in the Gaza Strip. It was, quite a small civilian population, a couple of thousands, that had to be armed by tons and tons of soldiers amidst, what was only like 1.5 or up to 2 million Palestinians around them. It became very unsustainable for the Israeli state to really keep this up.
Israel's long-term plan doesn't seem to be resettlement, but a military reoccupation. That means carving Gaza into chunks controlled by the Israeli army, deciding where Palestinians can live and who can move, when and where, just like it does in the West Bank.
On the one hand, you do have these ideological politicians who are very adamant about it, and especially in the military branches and the generals are saying this is not practical at the moment. Like we're not interested in investing our resources. So this is the kind of internal battle that's happening now within the Israeli system per se.